All right, let's talk about setting up a security camera. But we're not just going to plug it in and hope for the best. Today, we're going to think like a security professional. I'm going to walk you through the entire process, from the second you crack open that box to the final strategic placement that makes all the difference.
So, here's our game plan. It's a 5-step process. First, we'll lay out our tools and see what we're working with. Then, we'll get the camera talking to our network. I call that the digital handshake. After that comes the most important part, the art of placement. Then, we'll check the system's vitals, make sure it's healthy. And last, we'll fine-tune the settings to make it your own personal watchdog.
Okay, first things first. Any good installation starts with an inventory check. You got to know your tools, right? So let's dive in and assemble our security toolkit. So inside the box, you've got the camera itself, of course. You've also got 2 lithium AA batteries, and these are super important. Then there's the mounting kit and this really clever little opening tool. What's cool about this tool is that it's designed to do 2 things. It pops open the weather-resistant back cover, and it also helps you attach the camera mount. It's all about efficiency.
All right, hardware is sorted. Now for what I like to call the digital handshake. This is the moment we bring this piece of hardware to life by getting it talking to the brains of the operation, the Blink Home Monitor app on your phone. Now the key piece of this whole puzzle is this little guy, the sync module. You can think of it as the air traffic controller for your cameras. It's the bridge that connects them to your Wi-Fi. And just so we're clear, if this is your very first Blink camera, getting this module set up is your absolute first move. No shortcuts here.
The setup itself is actually pretty simple. First, you'll grab the app from your app store. Then, use that tool to pop the back cover off the camera and put in those 2 lithium batteries. And a pro tip here, seriously, use the lithium batteries that come with it. They're in there for a reason. They give you the best performance and last way longer. After that, you just scan the QR code you'll see inside, and the app basically holds your hand the rest of the way.
Once it's all connected, you get to the fun part, naming your camera. You can keep it simple and practical, like driveway cam. Or you can get creative and call it the Night Watcher. But here's the expert take. If you're going to have more than one camera, give them clear, distinct names. It makes a world of difference when you get an alert and need to know exactly where the action is happening.
Okay, we've got power, we've got a connection. Now we get to the part that takes real strategy, placement. Honestly, this is the step that separates a pretty good setup from a truly professional one. So before you even think about touching a drill, a real security expert will always stop and ask this one critical question. Where is the absolute best, most optimal spot for this camera to do its job?
And to figure out the best spot, it's actually easier to start with what not to do. First, don't point it directly at a bright light source. It'll just wash out your image. Second, try to avoid constantly moving things, like tree branches that sway in the wind. And third, minimize how much of a busy street it can see. Why? It's simple. Every time a car drives by or a branch sways, you get a false alert. And that doesn't just annoy you, it chews through your battery life. So you've found that perfect spot, you've mounted the camera, but you're not done yet. A pro always double-checks their work. We need to check the system's vital signs and make sure that camera has a strong, stable connection right where it's sitting.
And the magic number you're looking for is 3. You want to see at least 3 bars of signal strength. And that's for both connections, the camera signal to your Wi-Fi and its signal back to the sync module. If you have less than that, you're just asking for an unreliable connection and a feed that might drop out when you need it most.
And checking this is super easy. Just open up the Blink app, tap on the camera you just installed, and then go into device settings. From there, head to general settings, and you'll see the signal strength right there. Trust me, this little 2-second check can save you so many headaches down the road.
And that brings us to the final step, the expert's finishing touch. This is the fine-tuning stage, where you get to customize all the settings so the camera works perfectly for the specific spot it's watching.
Right inside the app, you've got this whole dashboard of controls. You can set up custom motion zones, so you can literally tell the camera to ignore that swaying tree we talked about. You can tweak the sensitivity so it picks up a person walking by but not the neighbor's cat. You get to manage your notifications, and you can even hook it up to Alexa for hands-free control. This is how you make the system truly smart.
So there you have it. You've unboxed, connected, placed, and fine-tuned your system just like a pro. The only question left is, now that everything is perfectly optimized, what is your Night Watcher going to be keeping an eye out for tonight?